Sometimes a hoax can tear a hole in reality and drag a bunch of fun stuff through with it. I'm Sarah Normal Activity, and today we're talking about floating cities, conspiracy theories, and maritime folklore. Back in October 2015, and again in March 2016, stunning videos surfaced showing what looked like a city floating in the clouds. Naturally, it went viral, even making it to CNN. Theories exploded online, and some people speculated that it could be tied to Project Bluebeam, a conspiracy theory that asserts NASA would simulate events like an alien invasion or the second coming of Christ to manipulate the public and establish a new world order. This is not to be confused with Project Blue Book, the Air Force's study on UFOs and UAPs, a very actual real thing. It's a theory originally introduced by French-Canadian conspiracy theorist Serge Monast. According to the theory, NASA would begin to install a new world order by faking earthquakes, followed by creating massive holographic projections in the sky, a large-scale space show featuring three-dimensional optical holograms and auditory effects. The strategy would allegedly leverage the sky as a vast projection screen, employing a satellite-based laser system capable of broadcasting synchronized images to all regions of the world. This spectacle would utilize laser technology to project holographic images across different parts of the world, with each region receiving visuals tailored to its predominant religious or cultural beliefs. The projected deity, or figure, would be depicted as communicating in all languages. At the end of this light show, the gods would all merge into one god, the Antichrist. Much of the writings on this subject refer to all religions, but they're pretty Christianity-centric, since the Antichrist isn't super scary or even really relevant to people who don't believe in Christ, but I digress. The steps that follow include a type of telepathy with the population, and the end stage of Project Bluebeam is a faked alien invasion, which would sow chaos and lead people to do whatever their God, i.e. NASA's Antichrist, tells them to. This framework aligns with broader conspiratorial claims about the New World Order, which focus on mind control, microwave radiation, and other technologies used to subjugate the masses. If that sounds like a story straight from the mind of Gene Roddenberry, that's because it is taken directly from one of his unproduced 1975 Star Trek screenplays called The God Thing, that was reworked into an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation called Devil's Due, which aired in 1991, 3 years before Monast published his book on Project Bluebeam. The concept of the government faking things and lying to the population isn't new. MKUltra's a real thing, drones are a thing, and if, like Serge Monast, your tête is full of soft fromage, you can really take any kernel of an idea and run with it. Another theory to explain the floating city was a Fata Morgana. Side note, Fata Morgana, drag name I call it. A Fata Morgana is a complex form of a mirage that can occur over the ocean, where it looks like ships or land are floating just above the horizon. It's named after Morgan Le Fay, a magical figure from Arthurian legend, known for her ability to change shape and fly through the air. Like an oasis in the desert, this trick of the eye makes it seem very realistically that ships are floating high above the ocean. The optical phenomenon occurs because rays of light bend when they pass through air layers of different temperatures in steep thermal inversion, when an atmospheric duct is formed. In calm weather, a layer of significantly warmer air may rest over cold, dense air, forming an atmospheric duct that acts like a refracting lens, producing a series of both inverted and erect images. This phenomenon has even been suggested as the origin of the legendary ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman, a maritime ghost story that originated in the 17th century, primarily in European nautical folklore. According to the legend, the Flying Dutchman is a phantom ship doomed to sail the seas for eternity, unable to make port. The most common version of the tale involves a Dutch ship's captain, often named Captain Hendrik van der Decken, who was trying to round the Cape of Good Hope in the 17th century. Despite terrible weather and the pleas of his crew to turn back, the captain stubbornly vowed to complete his journey, cursing the sea and even invoking the devil. As a result of his hubris and defiance, the ship and its crew were cursed to sail forever. In various versions of the tale, the ship appears as a ghostly vessel, sometimes glowing or seen in a mist, and sailors who encounter it are destined for misfortune. On July 11th, 1881, George, Prince of Wales, a 16-year-old naval cadet on the HMS Inconstant off the Australian coast, wrote in his diary, "At 4 a.m. the Flying Dutchman crossed our bows. A strange red light of a phantom ship aglow. 13 persons altogether saw her, but whether it was the Van Dam, a Flying Dutchman, or something else, remains unknown." The Fata Morgana does explain why a ship would seem to fly, but glowing red lights and mists are not part of the mirage, so that baby king may have seen the real deal. The Flying Dutchman became a symbol of doom and eternal damnation, with sightings reported by sailors throughout the centuries. The floating cities over China weren't a Fata Morgana. For one, to create this illusion, the objects need to be right at the horizon, not hovering high above buildings. Plus, for something that large and noticeable in 2016, with the number of smartphones in people's pockets, there's no way we'd only have visual of it from one angle. In reality, the video was most likely an experiment by a visual artist. Capt Disillusion on YouTube explains this really well. I'll drop his video on it in the description below. It's possible the creator wasn't even trying to fool anyone. They could have just shared something cool with a few friends, and then they shared it with a few friends, and so on, and yada yada yada, it's on CNN. It's kind of like that viral story of the Chinese mukbanger, who supposedly died during a recording from eating too much food. It turns out the person in the photo was a completely different, very much alive content creator from Korea. The whole thing was made up, and it spread very fast. There are some YouTube creators that have monetized videos about it that are still up. It's a reminder that whether intentional or not, our eyes can deceive us. In the end, misdirects like the floating city remind us that while reality is solid, our perceptions of it are not. Whether it's a trick of the light, a viral video, or a conspiracy theory, these moments of deception often reveal more about us than they do about the world. They expose our curiosity, our fears, and our collective desire for the extraordinary. Even when the illusion is revealed, what lingers is the understanding that beneath the surface of our shared reality, we are always searching for something larger, more mysterious, and more meaningful. I'm Sarah Normal Activity. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you on the next one.